Say what you just said there again. There's
Furry cons.
In where? There's one on now.
Yeah, in Philadelphia called Furrydelphia 2024.
Do you think that possibly, and I don't want to kink shame anybody. I mean, do what you got to do, but do you think that it's kind of maybe, do you think these people maybe had fucked up childhoods or something? You know, that they're kind of like, or are having trauma in their life, and they're trying to, I don't know, disassociate from themselves to be someone else, something else.
Possibly. I mean, do they look at people that like LARP?
But they claim that it's not, that there's a sexual element to it and a non-sexual element, that it's not solely a sexual thing, but they do weird stuff in it too.
I don't get it.
Huh?
I don't get it.
Not neither do I. But it's, I mean,
hey, if it's your thing, it's your thing. I just don't get it.
It is a little strange. But I do kind of find, I mean, look, the anime thing, again, if you like it, you like it, but it's not really my thing. And I find it a bit, I think it's cool for anybody to watch whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm one to talk of my obsession with wrestlers and they're walking around their little fucking underpants all the time, fucking wrestling around and all that. I get that. I get the the hypocrisy in it. But when I see kind of guys my age in their 30s getting super excited about like weird Japanese cartoons, especially the ones that are into the women, whatever, if they're into the storyline and all that, I can see that happening. I mean, I watched Afro Samurai. I fucking love that show. Brilliant. Metalocalypse is kind of, no, that's not really that stuff. But there is some anime stuff I've come across now and again that was grand. It was cool. But I don't know, man. They get excited about the girls in it, and the girls are usually extremely juvenile looking and, dressed to look like children and all that. And they get really super sad. I got caught off guard it wasn't last Halloween, it was Halloween beforehand. We were going into town. They were having, do you remember that fire show thing?
Oh,
turned out to be absolutely shit because they didn't put it on the stage, did it on a ground level. So if you weren't in like the first 2 rows, you weren't seeing the fucking show, and it was mobbed. So when we parked up first, this guy and girl passed, and your man was wearing what did you call it? A Sailor Moon? He was wearing that. Yeah. And I forgot it was Halloween for a minute. And I was like, what the fuck? They're doing this in the daylight? No, here. This is weird, man. I don't mean that, like, because he had a big beard like me and a bald head like me and glasses and tattoos and all that shit. And he's wearing it. I was like, what the actual fuck? And then I realized it was Halloween. I was like, he was just dressing up. But again, weird Japanese schoolgirl wouldn't be my choice for dress-up costume. But then again, everybody has their own style. I mean,
I don't like the way it's leaked over into porn, because I'm afraid that it's going to be like an expected thing for women to cross their eyes and make absolutely ridiculous facial expressions.
But it
is. I don't like. It's creepy. I think that it feels as you said, juvenile to me. It's fucking.
It's like. I don't want to go so far as to call it paedophilia. It's touching on it. It's borderline. I mean, it mightn't be real, but you're fantasizing about it in some way. You know?
Yeah.
But again, I mean, and I'm not blaming the cartoons. Well, I suppose, the cartoons have a lot to do with it. But I mean, I'm not saying that being a fan of those cartoons instantly makes you a paedophile.
Oh, no.
Being a fan of the girls in those cartoons and jacking off them makes you a paedophile.
There's plenty of anime. I mean, I constantly tell you that you need to watch Spirited Away. I mean, there's plenty of anime that's good anime that doesn't make me uncomfortable to watch. There is some that makes me feel nasty. Even though it could be completely innocent. And it's just the way women are portrayed in it.
Yeah, it is very kind of, they're always very timid until it's time to get very sexual, and then their boobs are hanging out.
And there's all these blush. Fuck off, no.
Oh God, what I don't understand is why they have to be watching cartoons. There's real women all over the internet.
I just don't understand how people are finding this shit attractive when that scene in Alexander where there's like Rosaria Dawson and Colin Farrell literally roaring at each other like tigers like on the fucking bed, and it's just raw like fucking passion, and then there's like these people acting like cartoons. I know different strokes, but I think if you're going to act like something, acting like two tigers.
You see kind of double standards there. Like, I mean, when fucking Poor Things came out, everybody could talk about was the sex scenes. When fucking Saltburn came out, all people could talk about was the sex stuff. I went into Saltburn.
It was a really good fucking movie,
yes, but I went into it
that expecting
a lot.
As in, like, there's way more that happens in that
sexual.
movie.
That movie got a lot more going on than just the bathwater come, right? You know, that was a little bit, and that wasn't even half as nasty as it was described to me.
I think that got as big as it was, and no offense to men, but any reaction video that I saw are people going, "Hey dad, you look at it was all men," and like online go, that's disgusting because men are fucking Eastern. And I was
sitting there watching it with you, and I was like, is that it?
That's it.
That's it. I thought like you see it coming towards them. In my head, the way it was described, I literally pictured like this white blob fucking floating along the water, and him kind of like, just putting his mouth into the water and waiting for it to like land in there like a docking bay kind of thing.
It's just yolky water, but what catches is the slurp. I'll maintain that. The disgusting part of that is the slurp. It's not the fact that it's like that didn't enter into my head. I knew what was in the water, but the slurp would have been
just as kind of about it if there was no cum in the water. If the guy had just washed himself and gotten out, and then he went and went, that would have made me sick.
Okay, now that I've just thought of that's somebody's dirty bathwater with their feet on.
The cum is a hat and a hat, really, to be honest with you. It's already a gross scene, like, you know. But
it's not even that. Like, there's way more that goes on. There's the whole period thing as well. Like, I mean,
yeah. Do they call him a vampire at some point in that movie because of that? I could swear a character called him that because he went, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. It's a good movie. Yeah. No,
but I mean, like, that's the point. My point is, like, the people making a big deal out of like these movies for their sex scenes. And on the other hand, you have like these kind of over the top animes that are kind of just ignored because it's just the basement dwellers that are watching it. Don't worry about it, like, you know. But the basement dwellers need to be watching it. But basically, people in the mom's basement watching anime,
sorry.
I don't know. I don't mean to be shitty or to be kind of fucking, again, shaming people for it. It's just like, especially when I worked in a creche that time, and you see like full grown dads coming to the door in anime t-shirts and stuff, and it's just like, we wouldn't have much to talk about. But
I could hold a very, very general conversation, but I couldn't be like...
furries are worse again, because it's just... there's nothing wrong with them. It just seems, for me, it's just a bit too much.
What gets to me is all this, like, the way their mouth changes and they're talking through this side of their face. Their eyebrows goes, next thing they're talking through this side of their face, and it's just so fucking like...
I've never seen furries like that, where you can see their face. I thought they wear the whole costume.
Oh, no, you see, there's like this... I think that's kind of sexual, but then there's like this, like, furries, he's called himself, he, like, identifies as, like, a kitten when he goes to these furry cons, like. And like he wears like these ears, but he was doing his face and all that, but he had like this kind of, when I said furry Sailor Moon costume, it was more kind of like velvety kind of Sailor Moon costume, like that kind of way. But
so it's kind of like these people who get dressed up as dogs full time. Like, see the guy that got the super realistic dog costume, mate.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where people were like patting him on the fucking street and stuff like that.
But I mean, when I went there to Nivnock in Dublin, there was a guy there, and he had proper dog, as in like it was literally like a latex. That's common, like realistic.
What, like God in Preacher?
Exactly like God in Preacher, except not white. He was more kind of...
He was a Dalmatian in
Preacher. This was very kind of dark colour.
It's just a bit again, I would have to say that you're like really, really, really trying to avoid something in your own life. To take up being a dog for a day. Even though Amy did ask me this week, would you like to be a dog for a day, when she was watching the dogs? No, I can understand that. You're watching the dog just lay about there and get fucking fed shit all fucking day.
Just for 24 hours. I don't want any longer than 24 hours, but if you're going to lay me off on the couch and tuck me into bed at night.
All he does is lick his balls and lie down all day.
I'm not going to go around licking my balls. That's where I draw the line.
I wonder, has anyone ever made a Gef the Talking Mongoose furry costume?
I would like to see that. I think you'd be a bit terrified.
I don't know why, but I find Gef pretty fucking terrifying as it is. I know it's irrational because he doesn't actually do anything scary, really. But the thing is, it just reminds me of Rimini Riddle again. We keep coming back to this fucking Rimini Riddle. And again, it was validated a little bit lately because it's been all over the fucking Lad Bible and stuff like that, or on the internet. Yeah. So it is on the last footage archive or something like that. Little bits of it.
Oh, the Internet Archive. Yeah.
No, this is last media.
Oh, I
what it's called.
I thought it was a different one.
So it's there in writing. About what might have been in this last media. I assume like the Doctor Who episodes that have been destroyed or lost, the early ones and stuff like that would have been up in this database,
Yeah.
But in Rimini Riddle you had like an evil plushie toy that was a purple otter, and he was one nasty scary little fucker. When he talked, it was very always creepy. Like that whole show was just so fucking creepy. But then when I think of Gef the Talking Mongoose, that's who I used to think of, and I used to think of his voice when I'd hear people talking about him, like what he was saying. Especially like again, I've always said I love listening to Amy's Mini Monsters, Amy's episodes, and I literally go. I use them to go to sleep some nights. They're so relaxing. Like, but then there was one night I was listening, and I can listen to you talk about anything. And next thing the Gef the Talking Mongoose came on, and I started to feel creeped out.
How do you feel about Doctor Who, though? How do you feel about Doctor Who and all the animals when he can hear all the animals talking to him? Do you find that creepy? Not Doctor Who, Dr. Dolittle.
Oh, no, because that's so fucking... The only Dr. Dolittle I've ever seen is Eddie Murphy's, and that wasn't exactly hyper-realistic.
Oh, you've never seen the old one. That's really good. Oh, we should watch that after we watch The Time Machine and the ones run. Now we've made it a 3-parter that night.
But I do remember in Rick and Morty when the squirrels realised that Morty can hear him and they're starting to call him and chase him. That made me feel a bit panicky too, and I don't know why. And that's only a cartoon. I mean, I love that cartoon.
See, that's why we're different. I love that.
Oh, fuck me. That's so fucking... Just the thought of him talk. And I don't know, Gef the Talking Mongoose, the way they described him, like talking through the walls and all that stuff and running around the walls. It was just a bit...
Do you not think it'd be kind of cool to have that power, like Snow White and Shrek? Do you know, as in somebody fucks with you, next thing you just fling your arms out, and but like you're in league with these birds and they all just like land on your arm and you're like, fuck you guys. Here come the squirrels.
Was Gef that fast? And then Gef got nasty a few times too, and he'd make it sound like there was babies crying in the fucking walls and stuff like that. That's just a bit...
Or a ferret, dog, baby.
It's a bit poltergeisty for me, to be honest. It's kind of fucked up. I know. Do you think it was real? What's your opinion on Gef the Talking Mongoose?
I think the mongoose might have been real, but I mean, like, I've seen cats on YouTube bark. I've heard dogs say, I love you on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Like...
But this isn't like, one or two words. This is full-blown conversations with a fucking...
That is
they believed it was a spirit, didn't they? They didn't think it was a genuine fucking talking mongoose.
Well, what they said was that he was an extra clever mongoose and an earthbound spirit, or a ghost in the form of a mongoose. And apparently he once said, I am a freak, I have hands and I have feet. If you saw me, you'd faint, you'd be petrified, mummified, turned into stone or a pillar of salt. But apparently he was really helpful. Like, he'd guard the house and he'd let them know if there was any guests or any unfamiliar dogs. If they forgot to put out the fire at night, the stove, he'd come down.
My dog lets me know if there's any unfamiliar dogs in the area.
But their fucking ghost mongoose did. He'd go down, like, he'd put out the stove, he'd wake people up when they overslept, he'd give them coming really handy. Whenever there's mice...
That's a common enough ghost fucking trait. There was another ghost. What, we were only talking about it lately. Remember, was it... was some haunted building in New York, I think. But remember, the girl was being woken up by the ghost every morning. And it was the case. Remember, it was a court case. It was about the having to disclose whether there was a ghost in the house.
Oh, yeah.
And the ghost used to wake up the daughter in the house every morning for school so she wouldn't be late. He'd like tip the bed or some shit like that. And then or start banging the walls. And in the morning, she was on midterm. She announced before going to bed that she didn't have to get up the next morning, and there was no banging and no waking her up.
See, I wonder if ghosts, like spirits like that, if they are affected by energy and emotional energy, are they like, oh my God, this house is going to be filled with anxiety if she wakes up late, anxiety and rush, and it's going to be shit, and it's going to be...
But they feed off of that in a good way, don't they?
In a good way. But like if it's a negative, because anxiety to me would be a negative kind of... Yeah, if it's negative, would it affect them in a negative way? Like if it's like, we're just going to have a nice morning and she'll get up.
Yeah, we're just chilled out ghosts. We're not here for any aggro. Let's just fucking... We'll all have a nice easy morning and get this girl out to school.
Yeah.
But they love blaming fucking ventriloquism for shit in England. I know it's the Isle of Man, but let's face it, they're pretty close to England.
How many little girls though? Because there's a young girl involved in this, isn't there? Isn't there like
Enfield as well? They tried to say that she was doing ventriloquism, but that was kind of disproven a few times. They were saying that she was using false vocal cords. Is that what they call them? False vocal cords or something like that in the back of her throat? They were ones that you can't often use.
I wonder, is it the same thing? Whatever I was saying to you about the circular breathing, is it the same thing as like...
Don't know, but they were saying like the 10 minutes of doing this should leave you fucking without not being able to talk for a few days, like. That it would hurt your throat so much to do this, but she was doing it fluently for hours at a time, like. So
trying to think, how do you unlock these second vocal cords?
Well, that's the other thing.
Is it like the Tibetan monks that like hold cords?
And that's the big thing, is like these little girls are being accused of ventriloquism, and it's like, well, it would take years to master what these girls have done.
It's and the Girl Scout secret agenda.
Nobody's ever seen these people do ventriloquism before. So I mean, especially in the case of Enfield, like. She didn't seem like one to be able to sit down and learn how to do a thing like that at that age. You know, she was very kind of... She seemed kind of over... Obviously, they said like she had actually faked a few of them for attention. But she was craving attention as well at that same time. And they say that could bring on like, you know, poltergeist as well.
Maybe she wanted to prolong the attention because it's too...
But that was it. Her mentality was if things stopped, the main guy would leave. Morris fucking... Fairchild, I think so. But she saw him as a father figure, and he was really nice to her, and he seemed like a fucking lovely man. But
what creeps me out though is the family. I can't remember, the sister or whatever saying that when they go back, the like lights come out, and that
she said she only went back once.
I don't like it.
And she said the light went back.
My spine literally just went cold when I said that. Imagine go back to the nobody in there, and we're like, oh, it's been this long. Oh, fuck off!
I remember who you are.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's why she won't go back there again. So I think the main one has been back there once or twice. All right. I thought
my legs are cold now. So I get all goosebumps.
Yeah, that was literally one big. I fucking still know who you are, and I see you. And if you think,
what happens in the next life? Can he like easily access her? Like, so I mean, like if there's that spirit and there's this spirit, or is it maybe? I don't know. That's kind of creepy.
But yeah, that's how I feel about this fucking mongoose. I think it is creepy as fuck. They have some pictures,
I would like
shitty
one.
Pictures.
Yeah.
They're blurry pictures. They're crap. You don't really see anything, and people claim that it's dog. And they got hair that they had tested, and they claimed that was definitely a dog.
Oh, it was their sheepdog, and there was footprints. That was their sheepdog as well.
No, again, I can see, like we were talking about in the last episode, we were talking about the witch trials, and I was saying that I thought that the witch trials were a case of gossiping gone mad because they just didn't have anything else to do. The Isle of Man in the 1930s, there probably wasn't a whole pile to do. You know? So you'd have to assume this might be the same thing, like maybe a family joke that just got out of fucking hand. You know, maybe they figured out, because apparently there was cavities in the wall, like where you could move around, something could move around there, and there was an echo where you could talk at one point of the house, and it would stretch to the other side of the house, and it would sound like someone was talking to you in that room. Maybe if they figured that out, they started fucking with each other, and it just kind of became a thing, and they started fucking with other people, and it just kind of became a thing to, we cannot fucking admit to this anymore. We just got to go with it now, or we're in too deep. You know?
It's quite like actually I'm going to do this for next week. It came out, it was a true story, but it was a movie when we were younger about the fairies. Do you know the pictures that were taken of the fairies? The two girls involved. Yeah. But like they stuck to it. I think it was a thing of, oh shit, we better stick to. I mean, Houdini and all was involved in that. Like, and they were like,
did they prove it wrong in the end?
One of them confessed that they made them all up, and then another one said, well, no, these ones are real. These ones we had to fake when we're asked to reproduce them.
But see, this is the thing. This is like a thing you see in alien fucking stuff all the time. Like the alien autopsy, that's what they claimed as well when they were called out, when they were like, this looks fake. And it was like, okay, this is a fake video, but it's based on real footage that we had that got destroyed, so we had to remake it to show you. And it's like,
but at least this girl was able to say she was able to she had these physical real ones, the ones that she was saying, no, these ones are real, but these ones, there was so much pressure on us that we had to like fake these ones, but these original ones are real.
Yeah, but how do you fucking, like, that's, you know.
But that's the thing, I mean,
if I was going to lie to someone about something like that, that's exactly what I would say too. It would be like, yeah, these ones are, because by saying these ones are fake, but these ones are real, it's like, what if they're admitting to that one being fake, then they can't be lying about the other one. It's like, well, no, they can be, they're just fucking with their head, you know. And the one thing I would say that makes me some bit of a believer with this is the fact that they never made a penny out of it.
But neither did those two girls.
Not true. They had an Apple fucking documentary come out this fucking year. They had books, they had documentaries, they had interviews. Dead now. What?
Both those girls are dead. Both the girls from
Enfield.
Oh no, sorry, I'm on about the girls with the fairies.
Oh, right. But I would assume they're getting paid for interviews and stuff like that. In this case, it's the 1930s. They're not getting they're only getting a couple of newspapers out to them.
Yeah,
you know?
Those girls are 1910, 1920.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. But again...
I think with those pictures compared to other things, I mean, like, you don't really want, like you don't really want to believe that there was a talking mongoose or talking animals, but these pictures, like, they were, like, actually fucking beautiful, and, like, who wouldn't want to believe in fairies? Everybody wanted to believe, you know, I mean...
Look, the thing I would say with Gef...
It's so hard to call on all of them because they're so long ago.
The thing I would say with Gef is, right, because this is something I could see happening. It's just something I could see my own fucking dad doing. And making a joke with us that guy gets out of control, and it's just like, oh, we'll keep fucking with people.
What?
But the mentality of, if we take money for it, then we're doing something wrong. If we're not taking money for it, well, if you catch us out, we were only taking the piss. It's not a big deal.
I just had visions of your dad having to release a bear in Castle Island.
Oh, the Castle Island bear. Fucking hell. Just go, it'll be fine. 20 people are dead this week. Mauled by a black bear. They're not indigenous to the country, and no one is quite sure how he got to Castle Island.
Next thing is Sullivan's just moved.
I think for me it has to be a fucking joke gone too far. Yeah. Boy, I mean, look, they stuck to their story. I mean, even your man went to death fucking with that story. The daughter fucking never changed her story. I mean, she died in 2005, so all the way up to 2005 she was like, nope, this is a true story, this is real. Some of the paranormal researchers said yes, some said, oh, like, all paranormal.
Nandor Fodor saw nothing, though.
But yet he's the one that has the movie.
Yeah, but he saw
Peg's movie
nothing.
Is about him, Nandor Fodor and Gef, isn't it?
He believes that that it was a psychological kind of thing. It was based on a split off of Jim Irving's personality.
Oh, he thought the dad was a little crazy and kind of...
Yeah.
Oh, sort of like fucking almost like the New York Ripper, Peter Bunch, where he was the duck when he was killing people, but he was Peter when yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's unsettling. That's probably a little more...
He wasn't killing anybody, though. He was waking people up for school. He was doing good shit. Oh, my God.
Yeah, but if he truly
maybe it was a dad joke gone too far. Yeah. Gef the Talking Mongoose says he, but like the way he'll be on about wee willy winky to the lads if they don't go to bed.
Especially with the ball cavity thing, if he can do that from his own fucking room to the next to a room across the house, like, you know, it's like, well, it's a bit of a joke. Dad, was that you? No, that was Gef the Talking Mongoose. I could hear my dad do this to me.
Yeah.
Do you know, 100%? That was Gef the Talking Mongoose. And this would go on and on and on for fucking months. But again, we're talking about a time where they don't have as much media to consume. So this could just be a extended joke. It's just like, again, like I said, they didn't take money for it. I didn't take money, so I didn't do anything really wrong. Do you know?
But you know yourself as well, when you use those kind of excuses on kids, it takes a long time before you can actually train them out of it. Like, they could be 10, you're like, Gef the Talking Mongoose says you have to get out of bed. 17, Gef the Talking Mongoose says you got to get out of bed.
I'm still not 100% sure if you're an alien or not.
I know.
I keep telling them you are. With the pink hair fucking helps. Like, what?
Doesn't like? I think you have to.
Did she dye her hair pink? No. It used to be dyed brown. That's her natural colour.
I have to dye.
Why does mommy wear contacts? To hide her alien eyes.
My fiance said it to me the other night. Is when you think, Mom is half alien. That means you're an alien.
She's fucking putting eyelashes on, Riley. What human do you know that has to put their eyelashes on in the morning? Stop it, Dad.
I'm going to start wearing gloves like in The Witches and really fuck with them. You'll never see me without gloves again.
But I think that joke got too far. Sounds like Gef. Okay, this was a rewind. We'd done this one ages ago,
but we never got an opportunity to discuss it.
Just wasn't. We weren't doing it. We weren't doing real monsters this way. We were trying to do a proper true crime, one subject a fucking week, and I was regurgitating other people's fucking words because all I did was listen to other people and then be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Do you know what, though? Just to go back to it again for 2 seconds, I will say, looking at the foot tracks and the teeth marks from Gef, right down at the bottom of the Wikipedia page in their gallery. Mm-hmm. One of them, I mean, like, it looks like a paw print, a dog paw print, right? But when you look at it, its toes are down really far, aren't they?
There is a reason for this, isn't there?
Oh, because you walk like this, isn't it?
It was something to do with another animal, wasn't it? It was
the sheepdog there right beside it. But that's what I was saying.
It was something to do with the way they walked in the cold or something, or in the mud or something like that. It was... something about there, you know, that little finger they had, and I'm not 100% sure about it, but something about the placement of that because of the way they were walking, or the hill they were walking on, or something like that, and that's the reason for that.
Okay.
It was explained.
Okay.
They did find an explanation for it.
I thought that was Bigfoot. I'm getting confused.
And all the hair that was put forward from the dog as well, and then they just claimed that it was ventriloquism and these wall cavities. There, like I said, there's 1 or 2 pictures, but the pictures are extremely blurry. You can't really make anything out from it.
What if what they thought was a mongoose imitating a dog was just actually their dog?
Because I think they might have seen them around the same time, and it was talking. It wasn't like an imitation. It wasn't like what you're talking about. This isn't like the cat that went Long Johnson. This is someone like talking to you the way I'm talking to you.
No, I know, but it did imitate the dog. So I know what you're saying. Like, but I mean, like, could it be? I mean, like, that could be down to ventriloquism. That could be down to his split personality. But then if they're hearing like dog-like sounds as well, like if that's explained away by the split personality, is it just their fucking dog?
I wonder, is it the case as well?
Does a ferret sound like a mongoose? Like,
if they're claiming that, like, you know, the daughter and the father both heard it, is it a thing that they were doing it back and forward to each other as a joke? Because, you know, the way they're saying the baby crying. Yeah. And you think, like, that's creepy, but we have often walked through this house and Riley's been fake crying, and it's just like, what the fuck, are you okay? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm fine. It's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Shut the fuck. If you do that again, I'm gonna fucking give you a reason to fucking cry.
Yeah. It's very convincing, like.
So you can see how a little girl could probably pull off the fucking baby cry through the fucking house, like, you know. I don't know, it's a weird one, but the people, again, like, similar to Amityville, people who moved in there afterwards never, ever, ever, ever heard from Gef or anything spooky. So it was kind of, you know, just that one family. Once they were gone, Gef was gone. And I would like to go to the Isle of Man. I'd like to go to that house.
Oh, I'd like to go to the Isle of Man. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Well, specifically to see Jeff's farm, I'd like to walk around that area.
It's supposed to be a nice area, though.
I'd like, as much as it creeps me out, I would like to, like, camp in that area to see if there was anything about, or just for, I mean, like you do with the ghost hunting.
If you saw a mongoose, would you shit your pants?
I cannot tell you how I would react if a mongoose came up and started speaking to me.
No, I just read because it's one thing if it was speaking to you, but if we're camping in that area and one was like just sitting watching our tent, and because we'd be in that area, would you be like, oh shit? It
would depend on how it was watching me. Do you know how I was saying, like in Rick and Morty? And he's like got that little fucking gadget off of Rick so he could hear what the animals were saying, like Dr. Dolittle style. And he's walking on the street. Next thing he hears, the fucking squirrels are conspiring to take over mankind or something. And one of them notices that he's looking at him. And he's like, that kid's been looking at us a long time. And then they start looking at him. If it was like that, where I was like sitting there, if we were sitting there, like if there was like one mongoose that was just sitting there and staring at us in our direction for like over a fucking period of 15, 20 minutes, not moving, then I'd be like, okay, that's weird. And, you know, if we started moving towards it, then it started getting cagey like an animal would to run. Like, I'd be like, this is fucking weird. Like, why is it staring at us? Like, you know, I will get a bit weird like that. But again, I'm not afraid of mongoose in general or any of those kind of things, because the one I didn't like as a kid, it was a fucking plushy fucking purple fucking toy otter, you know, as a puppet. It was supposed to be a teddy bear to come into life, like, you know, plushy coming to life. And it was his tone of voice that was really creepy. If I can find it for you, I'll play it for you after. It is creepy. So it would depend then how Gef spoke when he came up to me. If Gef had a creepy, sneaky little voice, then I'd be like, yeah, we need to get the fuck out of here.
What if he had like a New York mafia accent on him? I think it'd be class.
Oh, yeah, we'd be drinking all night, just chilling. See, that's the thing. Like, if he came up all cool and relaxing, you'd be like, that's just Gef the Talking Mongoose. This is awesome. It's real. Let's have a chat. But if he came up and he's all fucking sneaky and creepy and stuff, I'm packing up and I'm leaving. I'm hoping the fuck he doesn't follow me home. But Gef the Talking Mongoose. We also did another rewind this week, and that was the shadow people. We won't spend too long on the shadow people. There's not a whole time to talk about the shadow people.
I think the Hat Man is the scariest.
I don't know. I think, the thing about it is that we've seen a lot of shadow people on Paranormal Cotton camera, and I've said to you, it's probably the easiest one to fake, but it's terrifying looking. And the thing that's really creepy about it is
they peek.
Essentially it's the thing you think you see in the corner of your eye, and by the time you look to see is it there, it's already gone.
But that's exactly.
Unless there's a camera on it.
That's exactly what I'm telling you now. That's exactly what it is. I 100% believe that I saw a shadow person. But that's exactly what it fucking is. It's that thing out of the corner of my eye. Oh yeah, I probably didn't see it. And then somebody else is like, "Did you see that?" I was like, "Holy shit, I did see that thing out of the corner."
Which always creeps me out. I hate it, man. I mean, like, even the way our coach is fucking sitting when you're away and I'm here on my own, and I'm lying on the couch watching a movie. It takes me a while before I will lie with my back to the door of that couch, or the door in the sitting room.
I used to be like that when you were working nights, right? When you used to work nights. But then there was one night Riley came in, and the other way there's a gap in between our wall and the sofa, and he was a bit overtired, and he was like, "I keep seeing things, Mom." I'm like, "What?" And he was like, "If I'm looking weird over your shoulder right now, it's because it's behind you." And my back is like literally to that gap. And I'm like, "Riley," and I'm not looking behind, because once you acknowledge that it's there, you're fucked. So I kept my back to the wall. And I was like, "Riley, I need you to be honest with me. Are you seeing something behind my back?" Because I was not. The fuck was I looking behind me? And I was taking him in
when I was on night shift.
No, that was the worst thing. But like, genuinely, I had to get him to like own up to it, because I wasn't looking behind me. He was that convincing. Like, he was like, "Okay, maybe I'm just a bit tired." Yeah, it was so bad.
But yeah, they creep me out. Right? The videos of them creep me out the most. And it is the fact that I know that if it was a real life thing, I wouldn't see it fast enough to be sure if I saw it. The video, it's clear as day. You can see them. And yeah, sometimes you can be like, well, that could just be someone. And you know those suits you see, those people, the green screen suits they wear where they're all green. Yeah. Essentially like a black overall fucking thing. You could do it very easily to fake it. But it's scary enough that if it's real, it's terrifying, because they're so solid. They're so fucking... For something that has no features, it is very easy to fucking see all the distinctive parts of it, and it's...
Well, you see, that's what I would say is, well, again, going back to the time when I'm convinced that I saw one, it was like it moved so fast, and I moved so fast while it was moving so fast, but still at the same time, I can tell you that it was solid black, exactly like you said, no features, but it was almost like, do you know the way like when you're young and you draw like not a stick man, you've kind of gone up a grade from a stick man, you have like the round head, but you have your defined shoulders and all that, you can see that it's like some outline of a fucking human. Huh?
Like the toilet guy. The men's and women's toilet symbol.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't tell you what the legs were like, but definitely like
what a shadow person is.
This much up, like it was exactly like that. Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. They just seem to be another kind of ghost, don't they? I mean, there's all this shit about it. There's Native American fucking links to it. There's other links to it and all that kind of stuff.
I think a really interesting one is the Hat Man, and he's associated with sleep paralysis, but also the abuse of antihistamine medicine, diphenhydramine, or Benadryl. So, like, you use that, you're seeing the Hat Man.
But I know, that there is truth to that.
Yeah.
Because I used to get my worst sleep paralysis when I was on really strong painkillers after my accident. So I was taken away. I haven't had sleep. When's the last time I had sleep paralysis? Like, it's been years at this point, because I not have serious sleep paralysis, the one that I can remember. You said that I've woken up in panic every now and again, but if I can't remember it, it's not sleep paralysis.
Not the morning of my birthday. Last weekend, I thought I was going to have to, but you come back out of it. You're not.
But that's like just might be a regular nightmare. Oh. I know when it's sleep paralysis because I'm aware of what's going on and I can't move. Do you know? But it's funny because, right, if you said it to me before, I'd never say that the shadow thing in my sleep paralysis nightmares had a hat. But Hat Man does distinguish. It does kind of come to mind when you say it. Like, like that makes sense. Even though I can't ever remember seeing a hat. All I ever remember seeing is black coming at me. It's not even like a physical thing. Sometimes it is literally just darkness coming up the stairs towards the room. You know, like a void of light. There is nothing actually there. Yeah. I can never actually see the thing. I can just feel it coming. It very rarely gets as far as the bedroom with me. I rarely see this thing. I just know it's in the house and it's on its way. The closest I've ever come to seeing it was when I was going to super kick it, when I thought I was out in the hallway at the top of the stairs and next thing my legs went from under me. But that was already the dream. I didn't realise it. I was in bed. I was lying there. I felt the sleep paralysis come on because I could feel it sometimes, but sometimes I'd be too far gone into the sleep to stop it.
Yeah.
And it was like in the dream, I got out of bed, went to the top of the stairs, and I was like, that's it. I have the bastard this time. This is a sleep paralysis dream, but he didn't paralyze me fast enough. And I was standing at the top of the stairs. I was like, come on up. I am going to fucking super kick you back down that stairs. And as soon as I thought the word super kick, my knees buckled and I hit the floor and I was paralyzed. And then I could see the blackness like kind of taking over the stairs, like swallowing the stairs coming up. At that point, I think I might have seen eyes in the like white eyes in the fucking shadow, but I couldn't really tell. Like it's hard to tell. It's a dream, like, you know.
It has to be linked to, because I remember seeing this on side effects of tablets that I've taken before, and it always made me laugh a tiny bit. But it must be like feeling of dread or feeling of terror are side effects that I've seen on tablets, like maybe like, you know, like the 1 in 1,000 section. It's probably it. I've never thought of it, and every time I see it I'm like, feeling of dread.
I hear people say as well, like that they have their some people get it so intensely that the thing's actually sitting on top of their chest.
On top of their chest.
Never got
I
that close to
know someone that described it like that, but the way she describes it is that it's an old woman, and I have multiple friends that describe it as an old woman.
First time it ever happened to me, it was Michael Myers.
Fuck off. I'd have peed my pants.
Yeah, first time it ever happened to me. I can remember the first time it ever happened to me. I was lying in bed. We were watching fucking Family Guy. My brother was in the bunk under me. We were watching Family Guy. The fucked up thing about it was I was half asleep. So the Family Guy show continued as if I was in reality. So when I woke up out of the dream, where Family Guy was in my dream, it was in reality. Like, so I was still awake enough that the TV was still a part of my dream, but it was reality. My reality and my dream were mixing into. I was essentially hallucinating the dream over reality because I wasn't asleep yet. Yeah. And then I knew Michael Myers was at the front door, and I knew he was walking up. So we were in the bedroom downstairs, so I knew he was walking down the hall, and I had to. But I was stuck at this point, and I was still watching Family Guy, and I was trying to get out of it. And then when I did snap out of it. Family Guy was still there, and the same point I was watching it in my dream, but he was gone. And I was
just like, creepy.
Fuck, that was intense. So, but that was my first encounter of it. After that, it was in the house. Yeah. It was on its way towards the bedroom, but it never got to me because I was always fighting hard enough to get out of it. It wasn't until years later that, like, you know, I would push the limits because I knew what I was in. At that point, it was an adrenaline rush for me. Yeah. I knew it was a dream. I knew it couldn't hurt me. Because it is vivid. You're very aware of where you are. Yeah. You know you're in a dream at that point. You just can't really do anything about it. I think actually you might have been kind of part of the reason I feel so comfortable kind of getting in there and taking it on nowadays as well. Because I will say right here, right now, if you got Freddy Krueger after you, Amy is the girl. She's not going to be like Johnny Depp falling asleep on you while you're in there trying to battle Freddy. She is fucking there ready to pull you out. And anytime, the thing never gets close to me because I start to try and contact you. Like inside the dream, my thought will be, okay, I can't move. I know Amy's lying next to me. I can see her lying next to me. I know where you are. Like I'm trying to make movements to touch you, to wake you, but I just start trying to make noise. But the problem is in the dream, my jaw is in fucking one place. I can't move it. So I'm trying.
That's what it sounds like as well.
So I'm like trying to make noise through my teeth to try and get her attention. And in the dream, all I'm saying is Amy, 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 and it gets more panic because the closer this thing gets to you. You do fill up, but even though you're aware that you're in the dream and you're aware of what you start to fill with fucking dread, like, and fear, and it gets more fucking panicky then to try and wake you before it gets closer. So it's like this ticking time, this like clock on you, and I know for you it probably sounds terrifying, or like I'm absolutely terrified. And then she wake me up and I'd be like, whew, that was pretty cool. I'm going to go to sleep again and I might get back into it. When you sound
that panicky, you'd be, it's like, I have to bring you out of it.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm expecting you. That's me trying to call you because I want to get out of it. That's why I'm so comfortable in there.
You sound fucking terrified. But it's like, I can understand how it could be interpreted as Amy, but that's not the sound coming out of you.
But in my dream, that's what's happening. Everything around me, again, is visible to me.
But it's like exactly what you were saying. What I can hear is the fact that you're not able to move your jaw.
Yeah. I can't move anything.
It sounds like you can't even move your tongue. Like, you know?
So that's essentially what I'm dreaming at the time. But that's the hat man coming for you. He's never gotten to me. I actually only just realised, and I think it might be why I found him kind of so cool and kind of a bit kind of spooky as well, is wrestling, WB, the White Six, Uncle Hody. The way he is pretty much, without seeing what was in the shadows, what I expected to be in the shadows.
Are you seeing the Babadook in the shadows?
Something similar to that, yeah. Which is kind of very similar to Uncle Hody, the hat and the kind of weird face and shit like that in the hair. So when I saw him, it was like, there's something about him that's kind of unsettling. I like it, but it's something, and that, I think I made that connection on it. It was like, that's kind of what I expected the shadow guy to be. When I couldn't see him coming up the stairs, that's what I thought was coming up the stairs. Really? You never heard it coming, you just could feel it coming.
That's fucking creepy.
Deep inside you, the more scared you got, the closer it was to you.
See, I don't like that. I've only ever had one experience ever close to that. It's like what you were saying about Family Guy, and I was in my student accommodation in college, and you know, like, it was like a one bedroom, a single bedroom, like, you know. So I had my laptop and I was watching. I wasn't even watching a horror because I didn't watch horrors on my own. You know, I still don't watch horrors on my own. I watch them with you, but I can't remember what I was watching. But I put the laptop down on the ground and I fell asleep with the lights on. But next thing, I was in my bed. And the laptop was down in the same position on the floor and the lights were on. And next thing, it wasn't even a movie that kind of particularly terrified me or anything. It was a bit creepy, but it never terrified me. And next thing was fucking Samara fucking from The Grudge. And it was, if not from The Grudge, from The Ring. And it's crawling through the laptop screen. Yeah. And I'm there in bed, like, and I don't know what prompted me to wake up. Oh, sorry. But I was like sitting like up in my bed the way I had fallen asleep, and the laptop was on the ground. But I've never had anything like that since.
Well, what they say in some cases, when it's not like medication related, it's a case of, it can happen to anybody, like, you know, it doesn't have to be from taking medications. But what happens is it's your body goes to sleep before your brain does, a couple of seconds before your brain does.
Same way to get the darkened thing.
You start to, your eyes are still seeing everything. You can see the outside world, but you're hallucinating essentially over. The dream is starting to
so are you kind of asleep with your eyes open until they close, kind of thing?
Essentially, yeah, kind of, yeah. So it's kind of, like I said, the two worlds kind of melt into each other because your brain is
like active. Lucid dreaming, fuck off.
Yeah, your brain is active, but your body isn't. So your brain's on its way to sleep too. So the dreams start to kind of kick in, and it's a weird one. It's so really, I
know that like your muscles like will like jerk you awake. You know the way you get that kind of like twitch, like that. That is your body falling asleep too fast, and your brain telling it to wake up a tiny bit. You're literally falling asleep. So I wonder, is that like the self-defense mechanism to stop you from having this kind of hallucination?
I used to get an extremely loud buzzing in my ears.
Yeah, I remember you saying that to me.
So I'd know, but sometimes again the buzzing would start too late and I'd be already too far gone. So my last thought would be, here we go. It was like, I know it's coming. But yeah, sometimes it'd be like really intense like that, where there was times there when I was taking a lot of painkillers for my foot and stuff like that. And that was like a constant battle. It was like, you know, I'd close my eyes, I'd hear the buzzing start, I'd have to open my eyes and sit up and wake myself up a bit and then lie down again, and the buzzing would start. Because I just wanted, at that point, it was like it was happening so often, I just needed a normal night's sleep. So next thing it would start again, and I just like, fucking gotta get out of it. And it was just trying to get to sleep. The goal was I had to go to sleep before that buzzing started. So then there was a rush for me to try and sleep before I heard the zzz start in my ear, because once I heard that was it.
That was it, no coming out of it.
No, that was me on my way into a fucking sleep fucking paralysis dream, like, you know. Which makes it even more creepier when I describe it all, to be honest with you. It does sound like something paranormal and strange, but really it is. I mean, like, I don't take painkillers. Even if I'd have to really, really badly need them because I hate the side effects. And because of that, this doesn't happen to me that often anymore. I see every now and again when we get deep into a subject, I'll have dreams about that subject. And that's happening to me a lot more lately. That I am getting like, whatever we're covering, I end up fucking somewhere in the middle of in a dream at some point. And some of them are a bit intense. But I mean, I do wake up and it's like fucking a bit panicky, but it's not sleep paralysis panicky because I wake up out of them. You know, just something shitty happens in the dream and I wake up, but I could be moaning in my sleep because of that. I mean, the more last time you thought that I was freaking out in my sleep, I was having the time of my fucking life. I was in Planet of the Apes and I was one of the apes. You
were clung to both sides of the mattress.
They were two trees.
Stretched out, and your hands were like white knuckled on either side of the mattress.
In my dream,
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I can see how it was two trees, but I was like, do I wake him and make sure he's still like
and then
alive?
I just finished the Boys comic again, and I mean, the last couple of weeks have been nothing but fucking superhero dreams. They're very vague, not as vivid as usual, but I knew coming out of them that I had some weird kind of superhero dream.
See, we have very different dreams. My dreams lately, when I do remember them, are that we are spies at our wedding. That's been held in a Viking mead hall.
And it's been happening a lot, has it?
A lot, an awful lot. And I get a bit more every time. I think the last time was that we're up in like a spiraling tower. Like
that used to happen to me with a zombie apocalypse one, and I used to love that dream. That was so much fun because every time it was a little bit more, and it was the same situation, same people involved, and it was just a fucking rush trying to get around there. I fucking enjoyed it. I used to be fucking 100% certain that I would love a zombie apocalypse to happen after those dreams.
Yeah.
Like, I can deal with this shit. My dreams told me I can deal with this shit. But I mean, to me, that's all shadow people. Well, you've said you've seen one, and I mean,
I 100%. I stick by. And then just to defend myself, how often do I say, "Oh my god, that paranormal thing definitely 100%
they're
happened"?
So common, it is very, very hard to tell. I mean, I'd have to say the most convincing one I saw on Paranormal Caught on Camera at one stage was this guy managed to grab a hold of the shadow person. It stuck its head around the fucking the corner, and this guy was ready and grabbed it, and it started taking on different shapes and kind of pulling him back and forth, and it was strange. It was odd, but again, we live in an age where that's a very, very easy fucking thing to do with an app. So that's where I get more fucked up about it. So I don't know. It's again, I suppose you got to see it to believe it, and that's where you're always going to stand with ghost stuff. You know.
I would say the one that I thought it moved too fast to be human. And that is the one thing that the girl that was with me said as well, that like whatever she said, it moved fast.
I don't know. Again, as much as I go on,
I would like you to believe me.
No. But this is the thing is, like, it's the one that I say is the easiest one to fake, but it's also the scariest one. And because it's so, it's the same as the Michael Myers thing that I used to say. Like, when I first saw Halloween, I was like, this mask is fucking genius. There's nothing fucking, there's no glitz and glamour. It's not like Freddy's fucked up face. It's not like fucking Bubba's fucking skin mask or the hockey mask. It was so plain, it was so basic, it was terrifying. It was the absence of personality that made it so fucking scary.
I can understand that, and I understand why they're creepy, but when I explained it, when we had PJ over the night, and I was explaining it, and he kind of pointed out, and he was like, do you have a link to that building? And I was like, holy fucking shit, I have a link to that building. I have a pretty strong link to that building. So he pointed out, maybe it was that link, like there was like that person, and like that kind of fitting in with the time when the link would have been like that person would have been like, you know, like young enough to have been a kid around the place. Like
your experience is is on the pleasanter side of shadow people experiences in my idea, but my thought process of it. Like, I mean, the ones I've seen the videos of are in people's homes. That is terrifying.
And this was the kitchen.
But it wasn't your house.
No, I wouldn't like to see it in my house. I wouldn't be okay with seeing it. There was one that we saw coming down at the top of the door, like not even from the side, kind of the head coming down. Do you remember that from the top lintel of the door? That was fucked up. I don't like that shit. If you're going to come and visit me, get the fuck off my ceiling, or we're going to have a fucking problem. Like,
I just don't like the whole idea of them, you know, just peeking around the corner, and then you run to go to the corner and they're gone.
Because it's fucking rude.
It's not rude, it's terrifying. They could be there all the time after. That's all it'll be. I'd never be comfortable again. All it'll be on my mind is every time I sit in the fucking couch and watch TV is it watching me from behind? Is it fucking at the door now? I'd be looking at the door constantly. Every time I'd be walking around the house on my own, I'd be wondering, is it there? Is it at one of the doors? Is it watching me?
There goes being naked comfortably in your own home.
So yeah, so I don't like them, but at the same time, I understand how the videos I've seen could have been faked. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Well, I'm not discounting it. I mean, most people who have had experiences will say they've seen these things around places. And again, if I go with fucking the lads from Pukavogue on some fucking trip to fucking a castle and stuff like that, and I see one of them, all good, no problem then. But if I come back home and I'm chilling out watching South Park in the sitting room, and suddenly I see a fucking silhouette in the TV of some black thing behind me, we're moving.
I'm telling you, I crab walk out of that sitting room so fast on my way back to the wall. If you could see the reflection of the TV, yeah, no.
Yeah, that's I honest to God, we were going into this episode and I was like, I love Gef the Talking Mongoose and I love the Shadow Person stories, but I don't think it's going to fill up much time. And now I'm wondering where the fuck we're going to find time for the Somerton man and this other serial killer one. What's her name again?
Amelia Dyer. So she was known as the Ogress of Reading. She was an English serial killer, and she murdered about 400 unknown infants in her care over a 30-year period.
She looks
like a man in drag, in Victorian drag,
kind of like Robin Williams. If he was doing a horror version of fucking of Mrs. Doubtfire. His face looks very much like Robin Williams.
There's somebody else though that she definitely reminds me of, and I think we've seen him in something. Is it
if you cropped
the
down
guy from Wild West? That's not Will Smith.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
If you cropped down and just showed me her eyes, nose, and mouth, I would 100% say that was an old man.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like, she only died. She died when she was about 58, 59, right? So in that picture, she'd have been about 55, 56, but she easily looks about 70.
Yeah. Stern looking woman.
Absolutely. So basically she was baby farming. So baby farming was kind of legal, but you couldn't kill them. But
that's what I was saying last week. I was surprised when I was doing author Gary Bishop. And I was like, I thought this story would be way, way too much for you. Because I thought you just couldn't handle that kind of stuff. And then you came fucking swinging out the gates with this bitch here. And it's like, oh, fucking hell.
I see, I don't know what it is that attracts me so much to like the old, like, not even like cold cases or anything like that. I mean, like, they're kind of open and shut cases. Like, we know who did it, but like, they're so old and there's still kind of that bit of mystery about them. Like, but now, like, there's so much information readily available about every fucking...
I suppose as well, when you think about something that far back, you can nearly disassociate a little bit and it seems more like something out of a book or a movie or something like that.
There's that as well. I mean, like, Alice Roberts did a whole episode on it was basically like a whole load of neonates found behind this Roman villa place, but they basically worked out that it was obviously a brothel, and all the prostitutes that were getting pregnant, their newborn babies were being brought outside and like slaughtered and whatever.
Fucking
and like
hell.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when it's that far back, I mean, like, she was saying, like, you know, she was after having a baby like 2 weeks beforehand or something like that, and she went on to this site. She said it's awful, and you do feel like that kind of like, it's a sense of sadness, but like, because it's literally what you said, you disassociate. It's that far back, like, you know.
Whereas someone like fucking Arthur Bishop is kind of, still that guy fucking.
Yeah.
It's just,
I mean, like, you can see him in a photo, not like that where it could be a photo or it could be a badly drawn picture of a man in drag. They're tangible.
That's it. We're closer to the 80s than we were fucking in 1893. So yeah.
But I think there's something about like those. I mean, there's 400 kids there that, like, you know, they're not going to be remembered. Whereas, I mean, like, there's victims there that they're named, they can be remembered. You know, and like
her numbers rival the top fucking crazy fucking Colombian people, and so I have a list here of the top serial killers for numbers wise, like, because we were curious at one stage, you know, who was what, and I used it for mini monsters for a long time. I was just literally kind of went with the top guy and started working my way down. That's how I found Pedro Lopez and Javed Iqbal, Mikhail Popkov, all those guys.
Yeah.
And their numbers, I mean, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, you know, Venezuela, places like this. This is where you're getting the guys who killed up to, I think, proven top one is 193, but it could be anywhere up to 300 victims. And then you have this one who goes completely unnoticed by everybody, and a story I've never heard before, and it's like 400 plus. This would put her as the top fucking serial killer in the world, you know?
I don't think they can quite commit to it, because there's always like a bit more, a bit less, like, of other like serial killers, but I think that basically what they're getting at by repeating it.
Henry Lucas situation.
No, not at all. But I think by repeating it, because, you know, like, they can't say for definite that she was, but I think by repeating it throughout all this article that it's like, basically, we're going to keep saying it, because she probably is the most prolific serial killer. But I was and I think that as well, if she was charging more for the upkeep of the babies, she probably wouldn't have killed as much. But there were some mothers that were like handing over their babies for, and like paying a $5 for their upkeep.
Found this strange as well. When you said that struck me as strange. I was like, I would have thought she'd be paying for the babies. You know, not charging people like, I'll take the baby off your hands. I was like, nowadays you got to pay thousands for fucking a surrogate or fucking or adoption.
Back then, to maintain your reputation and for you to go to work as a single mother, you'd have to pay for somebody to take your child. Like, it's basically like a childminder, but like they get the child. Do you know?
Permanent childminder.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But yeah, that kind of caught me off guard.
I mean, it's that or go into the workhouse.
Yeah. It is
so fucked up.
It's a lot.
Absolutely.
Like.
I mean,
how old is she? How was she killing those?
So there was things on the market containing opium. They were
she was just overdosing them.
Yeah. There was one called Godfrey's Cordial or Mother's Friend, and that was a frequent choice. There was apparently opium killed far more infants through starvation than directly through overdose. That's how bad like the opium problem was anyway. Back then, before you even got to giving it to the kids,
she was giving the kids drugs, and then when they got the munchies, she was letting them fucking starve. She was holding out on the munchies for the kids. This is essentially
no, as in like
I'm so fucking
it was just a comment on how bad the opium problem was in Victorian London at that stage. That opium was killing babies, because of this syrup, but it was also killing them because their parents were too fucking obsessed with opium to feed their kids.
Oh, I took it as there was too much opium, but that's not the case here because she's not going to be fucked up on opium.
No, but she was just overdosing them on them. On opium. That's how readily, but I'm just saying that's how readily available opium was at the time. Like, she could get to overdose the kids, and parents could take it.
Like opium dens and stuff like that around, and that. I mean, they were fairly common, weren't they?
They were, yeah.
I mean, essentially, what is opium again? That's essentially fucking heroin, isn't it?
It comes from I mean, like it's essentially like tramadol, saltine, saltadol, all that. Like it comes from opium.
If it's anything like tramadol, Jesus Christ.
It works wonders on a pain, but my God,
I had to take 2 last week.
With that, and it's
I was never more. This day last week, I had to take 2 of them, and the next day I was fucked up. Jesus
Heartburn,
Christ.
nauseousness. When my brother took him, he said that he woke up one night and he was freaking out. And Mom was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "I have no neck." And then the night after, Mom was standing at the bottom of the stairs, and this was like at 3 o'clock in the morning. She could hear all this singing, and Sean upstairs in his sleep singing, "Adele, someone like you." And that's tramadol. That's why some people snort it.
We do not condone that.
We don't know, but I'm just saying.
Blow your brain out.
Absolutely not. But anyway, so like she had a lot of aliases as well, and this is how she got away with a lot of stuff. She had spells in mental hospitals as well, but people were all like, "Hang on now 2 seconds, you're actually being accused of like terrible shit and you just happen to go insane." And this happened every time that she thought that people were onto her. And
so they're getting too close. I need to start working on my alibi.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then there was some people that said that, you know, like her mental instability could be related to substance abuse, because was she taking the opium as well as overdosing the kids on opium? I will say, did you do the laughing granny?
Nanny Doss.
Yeah, I don't like the way, at least, I know it's fucking terrible, but at least with opium, you're not getting a fucking needle to the fucking brain.
Well,
it's either fucking every way. What?
They don't know for sure if that happened. When Nanny Doss, it was that was the mother thought she saw her holding it, and they thought she had like a dream about it or something like that, and then the child was dead, and they went looking, and they thought it might have maybe been something there. They weren't 100% sure. They were never able to prove that. That's only a theory that happened because, well, she killed the rest of her family. You know, she was knocking the rest of them off when it became inconvenient.
Yeah.
But fuck, what was I going to say there? What was she getting out of this?
Money.
Was she getting paid by the government to have him, like?
No, she was getting paid by the mothers to keep him. So, like, as in,
well, that's just like a tenner here and there.
Yeah, but tenner would have been kind of substantial back then. But that's why she went through them so quick. That's literally what I said. She would
I thought she was getting them for some sort of scam as well on top of it. But then again,
I mean, look, sell off their baby clothes that were sent with them.
As bad as records might have been, they're going to notice if you're taking off 400 fucking child benefit fucking.
But I mean, like, but it's not just the money that she was getting handed over by the parents. Like, you know, like there'd be children's clothes, stuff like that, toys that were sent with them, and she'd keep a few items of children's clothes, but then she'd sell off the rest of it.
And then she'd give her landlady fucking boots for her daughter, or something like that. Dead
so fucking awful.
And she left one of them alive because one of them helped her.
Yeah, well, one of them did.
Her husband.
And then there was a few bodies found in the Thames.
And she, you'll know they're mine if they have a string wrapped around their neck.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was like, I think it's bias binding is what it sounds like to me. So it's a thing
tape,
that...
wasn't it?
Yeah, but the way they describe it would be the same as bias binding that you put on kind of like edging of clothes and stuff like that.
I heard edging, I just thought it was like masking tape or something like that. Like I used to paint.
No, if it's used in tailoring, it kind of goes around the edge. I think I have some upstairs. I'll show you. It's kind of like a sturdy ribbon. The only way I can describe it. But the fact then that she says, like, you know, I think in one of her confessions she said that she had to take it off one kid's neck that she'd literally just strangled, and then like
use another.
Yeah, straight away. I was just so fucked up.
Look, again, mental instability and all that, but this is again, I suppose time, and there wouldn't be people to watch it. If this was today, someone like that would probably be monitored earlier on in their life for mental instabilities, like, you know.
I think the judge kind of rules.
Oh, it was fake.
You're faking.
But you have to be mentally unstable to kill 400 babies,
or just really fucking greedy and evil.
Yes, fucking.
I honestly do believe that's what it was. That she was fucking greedy and she was fucking evil. She was also linked to Jack the Ripper at times, but I mean, like, that's ludicrous.
It's completely different crimes. Two different victim pools, two different MOs, two different styles. I mean,
it's less believable than H.H. Holmes.
Jack the Ripper has to be rather a doctor or a butcher, isn't it? Most likely medical training is what they were expecting, yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, like, when you look at his letters are so fucking awful. There's no way that he was medically trained. Like,
but
or was
that
him
could be done on purpose.
Yeah,
you know?
There's like all these contradicting things in that
especially
case,
if it's a high class person.
Which we're doing. I'm playing with bones in 2 weeks.
Awesome, but if you're a high class person and you don't want to be caught, you're going to be like, oh, well, I'll sound like one of the dumb lower class ones, and they'll only suspect them. So you're going to write your letters badly.
I will say, when I was researching for that episode, I was reading one of them, and remember I said to you, I was like, doesn't saying t'other instead of the other, that sounds very Irish.
And they know that one or two of those letters were fake as well, don't they?
I don't believe the kidney one was fake. I believe the kidney one was real.
Was it only like one or two tops that they have that I think are legitimate?
But even the writing on the wall about the Jews, they're not sure if that was there anyway or if it was actually linked to the murder. Because there was a lot of graffiti concerning the Jews about that around the Whitechapel area at the time.
He wasn't going after Jewish people. He was going after prostitutes.
Yeah, but but it's not that he was going after Jews. He was pointing the finger at the Jews, saying
it was their fault.
Yeah.
How?
Again, how? Again, it's one of these things that
if all else fails, blame the Jews.
It's awful, but it is fucking awful. But it just seems to happen again and again and again. I mean, like, every so often, like, I'll be researching things and they'd be like, and 400 Jews are expelled from the country, or like 600 Jews were thrown down the well, and it's like, holy shit, like, it just doesn't fucking stop. Every fucking country, like.
Do you think that's what finally happened over in fucking Israel? That they're all just there and they're like, right, they fucked us over so many times over history that there's no possible way they will come and blame us for this. They'll be like, nah, look, we've given them a lot of grief for it. We blame them for everything else. This can't be their fault. We can't blame them again for this situation. And they're like, so we can do whatever the fuck we want. And they think they can get, well, they are getting away with it. No one's really doing anything about it.
Maybe we should give them a stern talking to, because we never fucked them out about it.
Yeah.
See?
No Jewish people. We've never even I don't think there was never a thing about anti-Semitism in our country because we've never had any Jewish people.
I'm not a Jewish person.
You keep bringing that up. You've met like 2 Jewish people in your life over thousands of Catholics and Protestants.
But I don't get out much either, so.
Yeah, I don't know. But was she blaming the Jews?
No.
Sorry, we're talking about Jack the Ripper. They were saying she was Jack the Ripper. How did they manage to come across that, or was it just because she was a big name and they wanted to link a big name to it?
There was an author called William Stewart, and he basically, there was a woman called Mary Piercy was his chosen, like, real suspect, but it was just because she was alive. She was a murderer alive at the time of the Jack the Ripper in or around the same vicinity. Wasn't even properly in London. But I mean, like,
Go to fucking California in the 80s. I mean, there was a lot of them working around the same time. Like, that's a common thing.
We know people that lived in America in the 80s, and we're not going around going, holy shit, he's such and such, or they're such and such. I mean, pinning it just because this person lived at the same time.
But like you said, anyone who was a killer at that time was pinned to him. Like you said, H.H. Holmes was pinned to him. Which, to be honest with you, personality-wise,
it did seem convincing to me. Watch the documentary, and then they just lost me.
What did they say in the documentary?
Remember, it was like H.H. Holmes, great.
Yeah, they said he went to London for a while and then he came back. Yeah,
but there was just, there was just something that just...
Cash grab.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. What did make sense was very flimsy and very like, okay, well, I suppose if this happened, that would make sense. I don't know.
Look, Jack Ripper's just going to be one of those ones that's never going to be solved. Ever. Like, they can't be solved at this stage. It's not like you're going to find new DNA in the fucking situation. It's not like they're going to suddenly find new fucking documents on the situation. At this point, if that was going to be solved, it would be fucking solved. Oh, Amy's freaking out here. A spider must have been in the vicinity. Did you get it?
I think so.
Is it dead?
It's on the end.
Don't say anything on the fucking... Don't implicate yourself in any animal cruelty.
I threw my slippers over there. It was the dog.
Oh, was that a big one?
Yes.
It's that time of year, Amy.
Yeah.
Told you.
That I don't let my feet touch the floor
anymore. Here they come. So she eventually was executed, was she?
Oh, yeah, she was well executed. Well, sure, she was hung. She deserved a lot more being hung. You see, this is what the fucking treason punishment should have been reserved for, being hung, drawn, and quartered. This is the kind of shit where this fucking that type of execution should be used. She was basically, it took the jury 4.5 minutes to find her guilt. She was held for 3 weeks, I think, before she was actually executed, and then she was hanged by James Billington at Newgate Prison on Wednesday, the 10th of June, 1896. And when she was asked on the scaffold if she had anything to say, she said,
I'm Jack the Ripper. No, she didn't say that.
No, she said, I've got nothing to say, and then she was dropped at about 9 a.m.
Oh, they made her fucking get up early for her execution. Leave her have a lie in at least. Do it at lunchtime. I probably
wouldn't sleep. Do you know what was really shitty though? Imagine not sleeping the night before, but Anne Boleyn was supposed to be beheaded. Like, do you know, like one day it was like, okay, you're going to die tomorrow at like dawn or whatever, or 12 o'clock, whatever time it was. And then like they came in a few hours before it was supposed to happen. They're like, well, it's not going to happen today. Nothing's ready. So probably tomorrow at this time. And then this time tomorrow comes and they're like, no, well, he's still not here. So imagine that. Working yourself up day after day after fucking day.
But eventually when it comes, you're just like, yeah, it's not fucking happening. So you'd be like cool walking out there. They're gonna pull back at some point.
And die screaming because you didn't realise that they're not going to pull out.
But that's her. She seems... That's an interesting story. I've never heard of her before.
Can't believe you've never heard of her.
I couldn't find any documentaries about her either.
Ooh, there's a market opening.
So, yeah, cool story. Enjoyed it. She's a fucking angry looking bitch. Jesus Christ. They have a fucking proper police photo over here.
Mm-hmm. They do.
She looks more feminine than that one.
She looks like she'd fit into Coronation
she was
Street
a girl.
or something.
I could tell that she was a woman in that one. The kind of artsy one above. That's a drawing, is it?
No, I'd say that's one of those. Hang on 2 seconds. There's a type. It says photograph, but there's like different types of photograph. There's like different plates and a daguerreotype and stuff like that. So I don't think it's an actual our type of photograph.
Dyer upon entry to Wells Asylum. Oh yeah. That was a picture of her when she was going into the asylum.
Oh, I see. She probably
well dressed for a lady going to the crazy place.
Loopy as possible.
Well, she's well dressed, like for a woman going to an asylum.
Who put the fucking hat on top of her head? That's ridiculous. Well dressed.
It goes with the rest of the episode.
No, do you know what? She fits straight in with one of the like hardcore wizards in Harry Potter.
I can see her as a man. It's the haircut.
Mrs. Fig or someone.
Oh God! Come on, we got to get on with this. We're running out of time here.
Somerton
man. Somerton man to go, and this took you 40 fucking minutes to record. Sorry. It took about 2.5 hours to record 40 minutes of this fucking story. I still don't know what it's about because I was kind of tired at that point. But
right. Okay. So basically, a guy was found on the 1st December 1948 on the beach at Somerton Park, a suburb of Adelaide in South Australia. And the way to describe it, he was found, it's like he'd be relaxing against the rocks on the beach.
Yeah, already it sounds like, just because of the timing and everything, this is war related.
Oh, there's thought he could be a spy, yeah. And but basically he was found on the beach. There was kind of some speculation that he might have had a heart attack. There was a couple that passed the night before, and they were like, the night that were like, like last night when we were passing, he was in that same position, but he was kind of like extending his arm and bringing it back down. That to me sounds like someone that's like heart attack, like is and but he had like a coded message that was on the inside of a book. So basically he had a scrap of paper in his, there was no identification on him, first of all. His labels were removed off the clothes. He had a scrap of paper saying Tamam Shud, meaning end, or it's finished. And they knew that it was the end of a book called The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam.
What nationality is that book?
That is 2 seconds.
Persia, the astronomer poet
from Persia, yeah.
I'm just wondering if you could work out what country from what he was reading, because obviously you have to know the language of the book, do you know?
But it was Fitzgerald's translation though, so it was an English translation.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like the way like Shakespeare has like, you know, like edited by and or like there'll be other things like translated by, like it was literally just a translation of the book. So they were able to track down the actual book that it came from to a taxi man who had picked up this guy kind of a few weeks beforehand, and he had left the book in the back of the car. But there was a code in the book, and literally, I think everybody I know a lot of people know what this is about, but basically they weren't able to identify this man. They're still not able to identify this man. There's some kind of theories about who he might be, but like the people that matter haven't said, okay, yeah, that's exactly who that person is. You know, that kind of way.
Did the taxi man give any description? Was he able to say like what fucking accent he was speaking in or anything? Because that will give you a bit of a clue. I mean, if he's talking in a Russian accent, then maybe Russian spy. If he's talking in an English accent, well, you wouldn't know them because Australia are linked to England as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a strange. I mean, are they still looking into this? I mean,
they're saying here that like that the code has never been broken. Like, a lot of people, this is like the Zodiac code. This is one of these things that a lot of people do look into, that the code has never been broken. But I was on Reddit, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a comment 13 years ago from Leconfield. And he reckoned that he had broken down the code. And basically the first line is number, like, it's the number 124 and then a big, like, code of letters. And he reckoned that it was represented a numbered cable sent by Moscow to its Russian embassy in Canberra, Australia. And between the months of August and October 1948. But, like, when you look at everything, like, what this man is saying, like, really kind of like works out when you look at all his explanations and you line it up line by line, that this man was actually like a Russian spy, and he believed that basically that it represented the top half of the code represented messages going back from an Australian spy group to Russia.
Okay, he does look Russian, to be fair.
He does kind of look Russian, doesn't he? But also, yeah.
But he also looks like he could be Irish. I've seen that kind of face as well. They found a suitcase in Adelaide railway station. Did they know this to be his? Like, the label was removed. Yeah,
so it was believed that the suitcase was owned by the man. There was a red checked dressing gown, a size 7 red felt pair of slippers, and there's all these, like, different
Amy,
clothes.
T. Keane. This cunt was Irish.
No, he wasn't. His brother-in-law. If it was the same person, if it's one of the people that it's suspected that it could be, his brother-in-law's name was T. Keane. It was Thomas Keane, and they reckon that he was a tailor, and that he might have gotten close from him. But this is one of
could that Thomas Keane guy not fucking tell?
He's dead.
Could they not tell who his brother-in-law was from that and what he was up to? I suppose again.
It's all happened. This is the 40s, like.
But you'd have to assume at this time in the 40s, their espionage shit is at the top of its game, isn't it? This is where they have the spies. This is when spies would probably have been at their most active.
Yeah, and I will just point out we just did Who Put Bella in the Witch Tree. That was proposed to be a spy as well around the same time period, and that poor girl will never ever be identified because the spy that they thought that she was died. Kind of they have a pinpointed death for her, and it's thought that she might be a spy, but it's so fucked up.
In the 40s, like you just come across random dead body. It sounds like a proper fucking like what you see the CIA. What do you think the CIA is now? Like they were just like fucking one day you're living undercover, and next thing
you're gone. Yeah.
But saying that, if this guy had a heart attack, it sounds like it was just fucking natural causes. And I mean, like not having his ID on him, that's not out of the ordinary. I don't walk around with ID on me all the fucking time. Yeah, no, I have a phone that will probably identify who I am. But I mean, again, Facebook would have been great at this time. We would have found out who this guy was within a couple of days, no problem. Anybody know this chap? DM me there.
Exactly, you haven't found in a few hours.
But did anything really come of this, or it's an interesting story?
It is an interesting story. Again, there's like so much like up in the air. There's kind of like DNA done, and there's some people saying it's conclusive, and other groups saying that it's not conclusive. And then there was one woman that she was questioned in relation to. I can't remember how they tracked down and then she was questioned in relation to him, and they had taken a death mask off him after they found him, and they showed her the death mask, and apparently she was like, and she's like, don't know.
She Bugs Bunny them.
Yeah. But her daughter then afterwards, when she was interviewed years later, she reckoned that the mother knew him as well.
He about 5'5", black hair, big white teeth, scar over his left eye. Never met him. It's a fucking dick. But, I can see the cast here. Yeah, it's a weird one, but I mean, it's not, I suppose, not all the other. I mean, there is also like a lot of bachelors who could, like, it could have been a guy who had no fucking real links and just had a heart attack, which is kind of sad as well. You know, someone who had no real ties anywhere, who just happened to fucking, you know, eventually die, and this happened to be the place he was in when he died, you know.
Yeah, but he must have been chilled out. Apparently at 11 p.m. the night before, he ate a pasty on the beach.
God, the last pasty ever. Huh?
Mm-hmm. He died at about 2 a.m. He was found at 6:30. And then on the 14th of January, that's when they found the brown suitcase, which belonged to him. And then the 14th of June, so like 6 months later, is when they found the Tamam Shud thing, like 6 months later.
Did they find anything else in the suitcase, bar the name? Was there any more codes or anything like that? Because I think that would start to build up the spy fucking
might
story.
Might have been normal. He had slippers and all in the suitcase. Tweed dressing gown. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like some of them might have been...
But again, don't they say when it comes to spies, it's not the kind of James Bond thing you think when it comes to like their everyday life, that usually it's they're the most boring, mundane people. You're going to know people who fit in the background that you won't pay much attention to, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, why would he have any? It's not all gadgets and fucking spy gear, like, is what I'm saying. Like, it's a bit more subtle than that, and you know, the codes would be the big thing here.
Oh,
especially because of the time frame, you know?
Yeah.
And the whole kind of seeming like it's being covered up a little bit afterwards, where people aren't trying very fucking hard to find out who the person is, even though they're saying they're trying to find out who it is. Do you know?
I do think they worked hard. I mean, they were able to try to track down that book to a fucking taxi.
What was with the DNA? Whose DNA was that?
DNA, 2 seconds. So they were able to take the DNA from hair that had got stuck to the death mask. But the only thing is that formaldehyde would have destroyed a lot of the DNA in the hair also from the embalming process.
Okay. I thought they found DNA maybe on the suitcase or something. But, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but like they did actually, like they were trying to apply to have the body exhumed and to have actual like DNA done, and they applied for examination of the thing for DNA. Of the body for DNA, of the thing for DNA. But in 2019, then it was granted, and they extracted DNA, and then a potential granddaughter's DNA was planned then to be compared, and just let me see the results of that.
That should be one that they put on one of those ancestry fucking websites, because that's something where you might fucking find them, like, you know?
That's true. Actually,
that would be your best bet, I would have to assume, because you're going to get some links straight away. You're always going to get some hits. So, I mean, from those hits, you'd eventually be able to work your way back. It might take some time, but you'd eventually get there.
So, basically, they were only able to take an analysis of the mitochondrial DNA from the hair sample. Because all the other DNA was degraded by the formaldehyde. Okay. They found that the Somerton man belonged to the haplogroup H4A1A1A, possessed by only 1% European. So he can be narrowed down somewhat, but it is only, mitochondrial DNA is only passed down through the maternal line. So there's some lines like, as in like, they could well be related to these people that they're trying to establish a relationship to, but if they're not related to the maternal line, it's not going to be proved by this DNA.
It's kind of sad, and I think a lot of humans kind of want to be remembered when they die, and it's kind of sad to be remembered for not being remembered. You know?
Did he want that? I know there's some types of poison that can go unaccounted for. We touched that. I was in the Chicago Tylenol murders, wasn't it?
That fucking pasty was fucking.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there are poisons that, like, they, you know, and they, like, when the Chicago Tylenol murders where it happened, the media weren't even allowed to say, like, you know, like, witnesses, star witnesses, that, you know, like the professionals that make the drugs weren't allowed to give the names of the poison because they're so fucking deadly. They're so undetectable that, like, you could kill somebody and get away with it. They weren't allowed to release the names of this. So I mean, like, is this something that, like, maybe he wanted to die, maybe he wanted to go unnoticed, maybe he didn't want to be remembered, maybe he did something fucked up a few
years ago. Maybe he was assassinated by pasty. Maybe he bought that pasty, sat down, lit it, and then realised, I'm in fucking trouble here.
Yeah.
Turns out the dude that works in the bakery is also a spy.
It's also part of the KGB.
That fucking guy with the American accent in the fucking pastry shop's after killing me. Oh, God. And all these years later, we're fucking about 90 years later, closing in on 90 years later, and those fuckers are still staring each other out of it, fucking threatening the other one to move.
Aye.
Longest game of chess ever. See you next week.